Travel call.
In the semifinal. They started their morning at 8:30 playing against Carleton College Eclipse, who was the overall number 3 seed and was expected to win their pool. But after falling to Middlebury, that put Eclipse into the pre-quarters. Lewis and Clark absolutely demolished Eclipse 15-3 earlier this morning, and that earned them the right to play Whitman in the quarterfinals. And Lewis and Clark played Whitman in a gritty back-and-forth game. Lewis and Clark was up for much of the game. Whitman came back, tied it at the end. Lewis and Clark was able to put it in on Universe, beating Whitman by 1 in this regional rematch. Lewis and Clark, 11 seed, have found their way to the semifinals, and it's going to be really incredible to watch what they're capable of. But Wesleyan striking here first on this second opportunity.
There's Wesleyan punching it in. Looks like Mackenzie Bunnell getting the score. Spectacular grab on the goal line. But as Charlie said, I mean, this is one of those times of the year that you got to love, similar to college basketball and March Madness, where it really doesn't matter what that seeding looks like, that number next to your name. At the end of the day, if you're hot, and then you just got to ride that momentum. And Lewis and Clark playing with a lot of momentum right now, trying to upset the number 1 seed Wesleyan.
I talked to Coach Jacob from Lewis and Clark before this game, and he talks a lot about I have a lot of confidence in the depth of this team. And similarly, from talking to Coach Keith Rayner before the game, Keith is talking about how he has so much confidence in his team. And, love hearing that from the coaches of I trust my team. I know that they are going to have the ability to do what they need to do. And on paper, Wesleyan is definitely the favorites. I think that we can expect to see both of these teams trying to use slight strategic advantages. And, I think that neither team was expecting to be playing each other. So they haven't prepped specifically for this game because this was an unanticipated matchup. And so for both teams, this beginning part of the game, they'll be feeling each other out and trying a bunch of different Ds, running a variety of offensive plays to see what's going to work.
Take a look at our first opportunity at Lewis and Clark's own line. Lewis and Clark donning the whites and Wesleyan in those reds, and a quick turn. Wesleyan looking to capitalize and get a break.
Weather over here in the Pacific Northwest is a little bit breezy, much sunnier today than it was yesterday. You can see the players, not wearing the layers of clothing that they were. It's not that sort of constant drizzle of rain that they had yesterday. And so that definitely has been a shift for teams as they're preparing for what this game is going to look like, because film footage from yesterday isn't necessarily going to stand for today. The things that were working yesterday in those weather conditions aren't necessarily as effective as they are today.
Yeah, that's a good point, Charlie. Really got to be mentally locked into this one. I know it's been the day 2 of the college championships, but with this wind being a factor, you really got to hone in on those throws as we see both teams trading turnovers, and a real short field here now for Wesleyan. A quick isolation cut to the front corner. Some contact there, but the score will stand there for Wesleyan. Punching it in is number 27, Scout Noble.
Scout Noble, absolute talk of the town for Wesleyan. Down Noble coming on the scene and was the Rookie of the Year last year, and just absolutely has been, contributed so much to this Wesleyan program. I think something that strikes me from watching this first couple of points, you can really see that this is the second day of the tournament. The turnovers that Lewis and Clark has had so far really seem like they are fatigue turnovers. These are players, who have been playing many points already today, and it means that their delivery isn't quite as precise as it was earlier in the day. And I think that Wesleyan has benefited from having only played one game and having more of a break, and that allows their opportunities, allows them to be a little bit crisper. I think especially early in the game, we can see the teams trying to adjust to the wind. There's been a few overthrows, and, you can see from some of the, you can see that there's just a little bit of a wind, and it's enough to throw off the throws. And each field of the complex is oriented a little bit differently. So when you have moved fields, the wind directionality is changing, the field direction is changing, and so you have to readjust to those current conditions. And you can see, that pull only got to about half field because they're going into the wind, and that's making a difference here.
Yeah, you're really going to have to snap and put some extra spin on those throws on the follow through. There's Lewis and Clark looking to make something happen here on offense.
Lewis and Clark had a really interesting adaptation at the end of their Whitman game, where they actually pulled four handlers back to clear more space downfield, and it seems like they were doing that again to have more space available for those cutters, trying to get them into more isolated positions.
There's a deep shot put up, now floating just way too high for Susanna Cornell to handle. So a quick gift back to Lewis and Clark now.
Wesleyan in, a junk set of sorts. From talking to Keith, he said, he talked about how they have a variety of sort of 3-2-2 junk sets, and there's a base junk set, and they have a plethora of adjustments that they can make from there based on the conditions, based on the players. And so we can expect to see a variety of variations from this Wesleyan program throughout this game.
That's a great point, Charlie. Really, as we see a great D there from Claire Carson, and quickly going back to Wesleyan. But look, I would be very surprised if either one of these teams don't go quickly to a zone look, especially with the wind being as big of a factor as we've seen early on.
A lot of drops again, late in the day on Sunday. Players are tired, and the mixture of fatigue with the wind is certainly causing problems for both of these teams.
Both teams trading turnovers, really getting in on this point, very gritty back and forth.
I think sometimes when you are in one of those points where you're just trading turnovers, it feels like, well, what's one more turnover? Sure, I should try hucking it. Maybe it'll work. And there's really an advantage to gaining that field position. So, we can really see that so many of these turns are on those away shots to make the opposing team have to work at the full length of the field.
Short field now for Lewis and Clark. Should get in their red zone set, surveying.
something I think that Wesleyan does really well as a program is isolating cutters downfield and really working on like where that open space is. So as you're watching this film, like pay specific attention to those cutters downfield and really where that strong side is, and how Wesleyan does such a great job at really only having one person occupying that like most threatening space, and how they do a great job taking turns at who's going to be in that space.
Wesleyan not able to capitalize. This will go back to Lewis and Clark. We're going to go full field now. A laser shot put up in the end zone and just off the fingertips there of Susanna Cornell.
We have a contested foul. Possession staying with the Sneetches. Just coming back out to Phoebe Halbert.
Timeout call early in the game makes a lot of sense given how many turns we've had in this point so far.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good opportunity, good moment to just collect thoughts, come together, and realize, hey, we're battling through some pretty tough conditions right now, but so is the other team, and they're also making mistakes. We just have to make less mistakes and capitalize on the other team's turnovers.
Let's take this opportunity to think about some of the, the background of these teams. So Lewis and Clark has been around for a number of years. They have been coached by Jacob Arts since 2018-2019. Who started coaching with Jelly Boyden, former Riot and Schwab player. Jacob Arts coached, has played a lot of mix in Portland with the administrators, founded that team, coached college at Oregon State from 2012 to 2014 himself, and then has been with Lewis and Clark since 2018. Has been a perennial contender, in the Pacific Northwest, and trying to take their team to the next level. And so are really stoked about the opportunity to be here. Has like shown the growth of their program that they've been working to build over the last number of seasons, and able to demonstrate that by making that to the semis today.
You see Mika Keach there with a nice block to get the disc back for Lewis and Clark. Early on, Charlie, both these teams not really bashful to use that long ball to kind of create some space. Almost has been a little bit of a defensive tactic because the disc has been moving so quickly back and forth between sides.
It also strikes me that the stack is so deep. There's so much space between the cutters and the handlers right now. And it does make it harder to set up those away shots that you were just talking about, but would make it easier to hit those unders, like the one we just saw.
Great point, Charlie. Lewis and Clark starting to get some momentum here on those unders. Approaching the doorstep now, about 15 yards away from the end zone. An upline cut.
Love that backhand to the forehand side.
Trying to find the target just outside the reach of two receivers in the back of the end zone. This going back to Wesleyan.
Wesleyan has the opportunity here to show that they have the discipline to be able to move it the full breadth of the field.
And a block in the lane. Lewis and Clark looking to run. Steer a little push pass up ahead. having trouble needing an outlet. And Steer taking her eyes off the disc, trying to move forward. Gift given back to Wesleyan. Now a deep shot put up, this one floating. Have some time to get underneath it. Wesleyan on the doorstep.
That's a Sneech's score.
And around swing, and Wesleyan able to capitalize. Going up 3-0. Punching it in there for Wesleyan is May Wrigley.
First time out in the second half.
Wesleyan certainly amped about that long point. Being able to grind out and get a point with many turnovers on both sides and a timeout in the middle of it is really hats off. This is such a great and casual grab by Susanna Cornell. Does a really great job with that backhand around.
And like you said, Charlie, a casual grab, but also just great heads-up strategy, right? It seemed like a lot of the deep shots for Wesleyan were floaty and high because of the wind. But when you've got a tall receiver like Cornell, you might as well put it up there and give her enough time to realize and adjust to the disc and make sure she's the only one that can grab it. I mean, that's a strategy I would take the whole game at this point, being up 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, before the game, Keith described Cornell as a player who is tough to beat in the air and gets a ton of hand blocks. So those are certainly things that we can look for. But, I think that what we just saw is that, that ability that she is hard to beat in the air. And I think that, with the height, but I think the other thing that impressed me there is her ability to read and box out, right? Like she got herself into position and had the defender on her back so that only she was able, so like she could make a pretty uncontested grab at the disc. And, given, especially like you said, being up 3-0, it allows more space to, to play the field advantage game of like, okay, we're going, like, we have a good shot if we huck it deep to Sue Cornell. And if it doesn't, then we have gained field possession, and that's also to our advantage.
Another great point. So we get another look at the D-line here of Wesleyan. Let's see what kind of pressure they can force on Lewis and Clark. This last point was a very long point for both sides. Almost about, I would say, 10 to 15 minutes on that last point. One just too far out of the reach. So a quick turnover. It's going to be Wesleyan possession, an opportunity to get another break.
I like this backhand force that Wesleyan is doing. The backhand force was a key part of Whitman's success in their comeback against Lewis and Clark in that quarters game. And so I do think that Lewis and Clark struggles a little bit with that backhand force. And so I'm glad that Wesleyan is kind of noticing that and pulling that out.
As Lila Shapiro able to get a run-through block. And then Wesleyan quickly storming back the other way to get another break as they go up 4-0.
This is shaping up to be the game that we were expecting. It is, at the end of the day, it is a 1 seed versus an 11 seed. and Lewis and Clark is fighting hard. They are competing, and Lewis and Clark is having a hard time completing, more than a handful of passes in a row, and that really is giving the advantage to Wesleyan. That like once they, now that they are on defense, they're able to pull, get the disc sort of like close to the end zone that Lewis and Clark is defending, and then they can, if they can get a short field turn, they only have to work the disc, a third of the field like here, and are able, Wesleyan is skilled to be able, with their breaks, and have been really effective so far with all of these breakthroughs to get the disc into the end zone. And I think that, Lewis and Clark is going to need to be more conscious of the field position when they turn it over. And the other aspect is, can they shut down Wesleyan's breaks? What is Lewis and Clark going to do to stop the breakthroughs that Wesleyan's been scoring?
I was going to ask you, Charlie, what do you think Lewis and Clark needs to do here offensively, all right? Like, is there something that they can change a vantage point or take advantage of a matchup? I feel like all it takes is them scoring once to kind of get some positive momentum.
I think that a lot of it's focusing on fundamentals in this like throwing and catching. I think that like this is a great possession for them where each of the they are grounding themselves before throwing. They are taking that opportunity to deliver those passes so that their bases are steadier, so their throws are flying truer. And I think that if they can with success with their fundamentals, that's going to lead to like the team success. It is, it's no coincidence to me that this is the most number of passes that they have completed in a row so far this game, and the most successful possession they've had.
Just not able to handle that dump pass late in the stall count, so Wesleyan will take over. And that one turfed into the ground, so back to Lewis and Clark with promising field position. Gonna elect to just put it up into the end zone, and just too much power on that throw will give the disc back to Wesleyan on their own goal line.
I like that decision. You have a player open going into the end zone. I think it's a great shot from Lewis and Clark.
And the floating disc, an opportunity to make a play. Lewis and Clark, once again, a short field. And like you said, honestly, from a offense into defense strategy, if you're going to take that deep shot, you're pinning them on their own goal line. You have an opportunity to get a short field again on offense.
Well, and especially because Wesleyan's going upwind here. So you can just front the players.
And coming back to make that block is Mackenzie Bonnell. So once again, Wesleyan will start from their own goal line. Lewis and Clark looking to put a lot of pressure. This Callahan territory.
Notice that all of the Lewis and Clark players are fronting because of the wind, right? They're saying, hey, go ahead, put it up. We know that if you huck it, it's going to float, and we will be able to contest that. And that is, messing with Vicious Circle's offense right now, because they're not able to get the isolation and the open unders that is, what makes the Vicious Circle offense thrive.
Inside shot completed. Wesleyan looking to run. A couple of dump passes. I believe a pick is called down the field.
I think we had a foul called away from the disc, uncontested.
Players are trying to figure out where to set up.
With the disc for the sneak.
Deeper breakfast, deeper lunch, deeper dinner.
And punching it into the end zone is Wesleyan. And Mackenzie Bunnell there getting some bookends. Another break for Wesleyan as they move up 5-0.
That was a strong point for Funnel, getting the, both defensively and being able to, closing out for the score. I really appreciated how Bunnell just drove up line. And again, it was a break from Scout Noble that hit Funnel for that goal. And so that really is the hallmark of this Wesleyan offense. It's they are so successful because they are breaking the mark. Watch here. That aggressiveness of driving upfield and that beautiful around, it's almost impossible for the defender to be able to make a play on it. So, really strong work and connection for that vicious circle offense.
Right now, Wesleyan in the driver's seat, up 5-0 over Lewis and Clark. Coming in as the 1 seed. You can see pretty decent temperature. Washington, the winds picking up 13 miles per hour.
You can see the wind on the camera. Clearly picking up, having an impact on this game.
No, it's a tough one for sure. If anyone has ever played Ultimate Frisbee in the wind, it can either be really fun or really frustrating.
I really like the strategy of having a big, tall person as the centerpiece up front as your mark, to have that big, aggressive mark that's going to challenge the throwers. Lewis and Clark, I think, is doing a good job moving it laterally and taking the vertical yards when given the opportunity.
It's a big around throw, not able to find the open receiver. We're going back to Wesleyan. But also, I like what you're saying there. I think Lewis and Clark looked the best when they were doing very quick popper movements to break that opening bracket of Wesleyan's defense. It really looked crisp for them. And I kind of like it when they're moving the disc a little bit more quickly.
Which is certainly going to be a challenge as we progress through this game and legs get more tired. But I do think it is to the disadvantage of Lewis and Clark to have their stack so far away.
Not able to complete that swing. Wesleyan. They move the disc going downwind. A deep shot put up down the middle of the field. Not able to lay out and get underneath. I believe that was Bunnell again.
Injury called on the field. Mira Lawrence going off for Lewis and Clark. It's a great opportunity to get fresh legs. Vicious Circle taking the opportunity, also subbing in. Putting Sophia Canudis-Nato on the field.
Nice run through D. And a miscommunication now going back to Lewis and Clark. And a hand block on the mark. Emphatic, giving the disc back to Wesleyan.
She was the player that came in off the injury sub. So strong work for Keith Rayner to sub in a player and then have her get a hand block.
That's talk about leaving your impact on the game. First touch, the defensive play. This now going back to Lewis and Clark on their own goal line. Now picking up the disc is Nat Sweet, trying to punch it in for Wesleyan. A strike cut up the line. On the doorstep is Wesleyan. Up ahead to Sweet, just outside her reach. So they'll set up their defense again. Lewis and Clark once again having to work from their own end zone.
That they're going that Lewis and Clark really need to deliver on their passes. I think too many of these plays are popping up with issue there. Like receiver able to still come down with it, but I think that like keeping in mind that you don't want you want to be slicing through the wind. You don't want the wind to be catching it.
Yeah, really got to put some spin on these throws. Not too many low releases or that disc might pop. They send in a bailout OI throw, but that will be intercepted there by Susanna Cornell. And a deep shot put up down the line, blading all the way out of bounds. Back to Lewis and Clark.
There's clearly a little bit of crosswind, as you can see that that really seems like the coffin corner.
A deep shot by Lewis and Clark, floating a lot of space on it, but just short. Good pressure there by Bunnell. Another deep shot put back, this one blading, almost intended for the open receiver. Not able to handle that one, I believe, is Olivia Borden. Turn on the goal line will give Wesleyan a very short field. Opportunity to punch it in and get another break and go up 6-0. And shaking loose there is Milo Brown for the score.
Milo Brown, one of the stars of this Vicious Circle team, receiving the disc from Maggie Brown, so you get the Brown and Brown connection going there. Thinking about Vicious Circle as a team, they have been they just celebrated their 27th anniversary as a team, but they have always been player-led and player-coached. And so this is their first year that they have come in and had a coach. So they asked Keith Rayner to coach. And so this is his first year with Wesleyan. He had coached before with University of Connecticut, taken last year off, and coming back as a coach. And Wesleyan has been really unabashed about their outcome goal of the season is to win nationals, and that is what they are here to do. They are here to play hard, they are here to focus on themselves, and they are here to win a national championship. And that the players in the program believe that yes, we've had a lot of history, we've been around for a long time, but we have the team this year that has potential. And in order for us to reach our potential, we need to get a coach. We need a coach to help us get to this next level. We have rookies. We have Milo Brown coming in is just has left such an impact on this program as a freshman. And there's such an opportunity for Wesleyan. And as you can see, up 6-0, they are earning that and demonstrating, why they are the #1 seed.
Turn on the deep shot. Wesleyan looking to take advantage and continue this break train. Nice pass up in the field, completed there by Kanadas Nadal. this one secured in the end zone. Another break for Wesleyan.
Turnover.
At what point do you think that Lewis and Clark like really opens up their lines?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Charlie. I think currently, as we are taking a look at how the Wesleyan got another break, I don't think it's a matter of really opening up their lines. I think it's just going out and playing with reckless abandon, right? You're down 7-0 at this point. 1 point takes you in the half. You just need to go in, and the offense needs to do their job. I mean, I know it's easier said than done, but if you can just get a little confidence going into the half, a little momentum going your way, I think that makes a complete difference maker. And it's, I know it's cliche, but 7-1 or 7-2, 7-3 is better than going into half 8-0. So they just need a little momentum going their way.
There was a lot of talk yesterday about the Middlebury Pranksters bageling Union in pool play. Union, who then still, beat Puget Sound and made three-quarters. But, what does it mean for, were we not giving Middlebury enough credit? Like, they bageled the team in pool play. Wow, that's so impressive. But, we are here in the semifinals, and Wesleyan is well on their way to doing that for Lewis and Clark. And so, for the people who've been talking about, hey, Middlebury, Haverford, Bryn Mawr, they're the real deal. They're, you've really seen a shift to people, favoriting those teams and being yeah, Wesleyan's okay. And Wesleyan really did have, only an okay Saturday. They, were able to beat Davenport. But this definitive performance that we've seen so far in this first half really shows that, Wesleyan deserves the hype that they had around them coming into this tournament.
When you've got that one seed to your name, it's usually not hype. They're the real deal right now, and it's pretty evident here in this game. Lewis and Clark getting some momentum going down the field. On the doorstep now.
I really like the inside shots from Lewis and Clark to work it up the field, and I think that was working for them to gain a fair amount of yardage. And I think it's this close, tight person defense from Wesleyan that continues to earn them the disc back and keep them in control of this game.
Wesleyan searching, probing. A shot into the end zone just outside the outreach bounds of Maggie Brown. Bailout for Lewis and Clark, not able to complete. Looking to punch it in now is Wesleyan. And that one's slipping out of the hands. The gift back to Lewis and Clark on their own end line. Big shot put up down the field, covered the whole way by Nat Sweet. Another deep shot put down the line just outside of Olivia Borden's hands. denied by Borden. Up ahead, and that's a goal there for Sasha Raskin. As another break for Wesleyan puts the score at 8-0.
That's a really definitive performance by Wesleyan in this first half. You know, certainly moments of ups and downs for both teams. You know, Lewis and Clark is grinding and hasn't been able to string together enough passes, and Wesleyan's doing a great job at capitalizing on those mistakes, using the short field, using the breaks, isolating players in space. Wesleyan absolutely dominant in this first half.
It's halftime here. Wesleyan up 8-0 over Lewis and Clark in the semifinal of E3 College Championships.
Get the ultimate news you need to know with the Deep Look podcast. I'm Charlie Eisenhood.
And I'm Keith Rayner. And together we bring the games, names, and moments in Ultimate to your podcast feed. We talk Ultimate's biggest news from on and off the field about and with the people making it.
And every week we go live on YouTube. Come join the fun, the trivia, the picks, the analysis, and more Tuesdays at noon Eastern Time.
We'll see you there.
Gabe Yacht sending it for Krennic this time. Paul Krennic, unstoppable. Wow. Perspective. Calvin Brown adding to the story. Alex Nelson brings it in. Seth Reed turns on the Jets and runs it down. It's crazy going on with Leo Gordon. Lou hits a tight backhand, and it's caught. Are you kidding me? Nelson again. Nelson with the snag.
1 hour win. Brooks.
Cameron up the line to Smith. And UNC strikes again.
Colorado. Deep shot here, and what a phenomenal grab by Artemis.
Nissen to the end zone, and inbounds lands. Jason Tapper to close it out. Brownie in motion, national champions.
Deep shot going up there. Cameron also with separation, but covering ground is Oscar.
Wants it all. Leo Gordon is there.
The hammer. A Wolfpack forming underneath, and Henry Ing makes the clap catch through the traffic. How did that fall in there?
They were down 12-8. They were down 13-10. And they have come from behind to absolutely stun the reigning champions. Cal Poly Slow is going to the finals for the first time ever. And it is pandemonium here in Madison.
Let's welcome you back here to the D3 College Championships, the women's semifinal here from Burlington, Washington. Wesleyan Vicious Circles up 8-0 over Lewis and Clark Artemis. Joined here with Charlie Mercer, Adekale Ande. Charlie, it's a really big uphill climb here for Lewis and Clark, but crazier things have been done. What do you expect here from Lewis and Clark here in the second half? What kind of energy do you want them to come out with?
You know, Coach Jacob Arts before the game was talking about how he says that we have the best sideline of this tournament. Like, I've been so impressed with our sideline, and like that sideline is going to have to be what drives them forward. You know, with a roster of 32 players, like Lewis and Clark has the ability to go really deep into their roster and put out a lot of different players. And I think that that's what they need to do here. They need to get fresh legs on the field, and they need to have a really active, engaged, and loud sideline to bring up this energy to have a chance at changing the momentum of this game.
Let's just take a look at our first. Ooh, that's an incredible bid and grab by Amelia Platt. And she gets up and throws it immediately to the end zone. Looks like that is Scout Noble punching it in. 9-0 Wesleyan.
Scout Noble, again, you know, earning that reputation as the Rookie of the Year last year for D3. Like, there's a reason. Like, Scout Noble is making plays like this, getting so many goals. And like you said, that really was a great grab by Platt there.
And before all that action happened, I was going to make a point that we're seeing our first look at Lewis and Clark's zone. And I thought they were doing a pretty good job of forcing Wesleyan, you know, side to side as they're north and south, but Noble able to cut through that space of that zone quickly and go to work.
You can see that Lewis and Clark sideline, you know, like just so many people, so much energy on that sideline. And, you know, it has to be this atmosphere of like love and support. And conversely, I think that there's also probably some part of like knowing that like this is where the journey ends for Lewis and Clark. That as an 11 seed, you don't really come into this tournament expecting that you're going to win a national championship. And so like they could already call their season a success because they got to semis. Like, that is something to hang their hat on and something to be really proud of.
Deep shot put into the end zone. No avail. Wesleyan will pick up on their own end line. Noble sends it deep down the field. This one blading towards the sideline. Cannot be completed. Could be a stall count.
Turnover.
Players starting to move before the disc got put back into play.
Is that one macked away and blocked by Amelia Platt? Lewis and Clark looking to run, perhaps get their first score of the game. And yes, they will. They're on the board as they're able to punch it in, and you see all the jubilee from their sideline.
A definite emotional victory for Lewis and Clark here. You know, it came from playing, you know, taking some long shots, getting the opportunity, and definitely having a hand on that. Emily Larrabee, like, getting inside for the block there. Great assist by Amelie Steer, and giving Larrabee those bookends for giving them that goal for catching it in the end zone. You know, I think that this really is an emotional win for Lewis and Clark of like, hey, we can score. We do deserve to be here. Like, keep pushing.
That's a great moment for them. It's one that, you know, we always talk about. Ultimately, it's a game of runs, a game of momentum, and you know it's an uphill climb, but playing in that game to 3, so to say, is going to be really beneficial, I think, for Lewis and Clark at this point in this game. So you scored 1, you got 1 on the board, you're up 1-0. Try to get to 3. You know, 9-3 looks better than 9-1. So continue that momentum, ride that wave. Let's see if they can do that defensively now.
Something that I think is impressive about Lewis and Clark is that all of the seniors this year on the team, none of them had played before they got to Lewis and Clark. And so that, like, Lewis and Clark, you know, like, some of the younger players are from, like, you know, played YCC out in Minnesota and, like, have come to Lewis and Clark because of the program. And they are starting to get some, like, legacy Ultimate players. But Wesleyan has a number of players that have played Ultimate before coming to Wesleyan. And Lewis and Clark doesn't have as much of that. So, like, so proud of all of the Lewis and Clark seniors who learned to play Ultimate at Lewis and Clark and didn't have that experience before. And I think it's, like, such a salute to the team that, like, they really have developed their program from the ground up. And, you know, like, this has taken so much hard work to be able to, like, make these throws and get here to where they are.
A great point, Charlie. Yeah, it's one thing to have that kind of pipeline and farm system of players funneling in, and another point to starting it from scratch and really building something. And quickly striking up line, Wesleyan punching it in, 10-1.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like, that is just the connection between Nat Sweet and Milo Brown. And, like, Nat Sweet, one of the captains, one of the players, you know, who wasn't able to play a big chunk of the season because was out from shoulder surgery. And so came back, and this is really, like, came back a little bit around regionals, but this is really the first tournament that Sweet has been able to play. And that's, like, such a gift to this Wesleyan program, like, the way they command that presence. Especially working with Milo Brown, who is a Seattle youth, has played on the USA junior national team, like, has that commanding presence. And so the two of them working together to piggyback this vicious circle offense, like, that is such a great example of like the experience and the benefit that comes in, right? Like Milo Brown coming in as a freshman and like, yeah, they're a cheer captain, but like they are, because of the experience and the presence they have in the field, like they are looked to as a leader. Standing next to Maggie Brown on your camera right now, and I do have to give a special shout out to Maggie Brown, who I coached when she was a freshman at Ingram High School in Seattle. And so it's really fun to get to see, you know, like another example of the like ultimate player who had coaching like in Seattle, has been playing since high school. And like Maggie came in and played even before high school. It was like part of that Seattle youth program and has the benefit of years and years of experience that is able to translate to this national stage.
You see Wesleyan pick the disc up after an errant deep shot. Now Wesleyan going the other way with a deep shot of their own. This one blading over the receiver. Looks like Sasha Raskin couldn't read it. A tough angle to make a grab. Run through block here by Bunnell. Some contact. Let's hope everyone's all right.
Looks like a little bit of conversation on whether or not there would be a foul call. Ultimately, no foul call. No foul was called.
Pick on the play. Disc is going back. Sonia Nicholson with the disc for the Sneetches.
This one going to flow over the intended receiver. Shut down and blocked. Artemis an
offensive with that block. Something I see from a strategy perspective that I think would make a difference for Lewis and Clark is giving themselves more lateral space in the handler set. So if you like take a look at all of their handlers, they're crunched into like 2/3 of the field and they're kind of on top of each other, and it's making it hard for those players to create enough space to get open inside in isolation because they are so close to each other and really on top of each other. And I think that the Lewis and Clark backfield would really benefit from spreading out laterally to create more viable space.
So we see some contact on an upline cut. People getting tangled up. A very spirited discussion. I think that the Lewis and Clark cutter striking upline tripped on the mark. I think that's a play on. I really don't think there's a foul there, to be honest with you. It felt like good pressure defense from Wesleyan.
Yeah, I agree.
So end zone set now for Lewis and Clark. Trying to make something happen, but that's just a tight window and a foul will be called. Charlie, what do you think on that one? That's a tough one.
It is a tough one. It's also tough because of the camera angle and the sort of like the contact happening behind, like out of view of the camera. You know, I think it's why I love our self-officiated sport where we have like the foul contest and you can see players talking to each other and having the ability to have a conversation it is tight defense. It is pressure defense. Like the D impacted the ability to catch, but was Brown in that space first.
And a great job by Lewis and Clark to play through the chaos and get another one on the board, punching it in. There is Tova Benson,
who had the block earlier this point, so giving them the bookends. So both of Lewis and Clark's points so far have been scored off of someone who got a block in that point. Larrabee and Benson able to claim that.
And honestly, if I'm Lewis and Clark, Charlie, I think that's the best way to play this game, is to kind of rise to the top through the chaos. This is a Wesleyan team that has really played kind of a pristine game, offensively speaking, haven't really been challenged too much. If Lewis and Clark can kind of muck it up and make it just as ugly as possible and kind of capitalize on that ugliness, they can kind of cut into this a little bit.
Well, and conversely, from the Wesleyan perspective, I think it's a great opportunity to open up the roster for Wesleyan. And you want to give all of your players time to play. You are up by 8 in a semifinal game. This is really valuable game experience, and you want to save legs for what the finals are going to look like tomorrow. And so this is such an opportunity to rest your top players and build up the program for future years, right? Yes, you're graduating next week, but you still have Milo Brown, and you still have Scout Noble and Milo Brown that are going to be able to carry this program for years to come. And so it's not just about this year, it's also building up the experience in these tight pressure games that are so meaningful, with all of these external factors around, of the noise and the sound of it's semis and I'm nervous and all of those feelings. You want to give players like this, right? You want to give all of the chance for all of your players to shine. Chloe Pachetti getting a goal there. You can see the joy on her face of how much it means to her, and did a really great job getting open by a bunch of yards and having the space to have an uncontested goal.
Kayla Harrison able to punch it in there for Wesleyan as they go up 11-2.
I think Wesleyan has the ability to make a run for it. I think they deserve this 1 seed, and I think they are going to be a formidable opponent going into the finals game.
Really making a defense.
I'm calling it. Wesleyan's the real deal.
I believe it. Really making a dominant stand here today in this one. 11-2 is your score here in this D3 College Championship Women's Semifinal.
For those following along at home, Haverford Bryn Mawr is up 13-11 over Middlebury in the other women's semi. So that is a close game. And the winner of that will get to play the winner of this game that you are watching, which currently looks very likely to be Wesleyan. But Lewis and Clark doing a great job working through the zone. Again, moving the disc quickly, like you said earlier, Atakale, about this is when Lewis and Clark looks their best, when they're able to move the disc with pace.
Yeah, it's almost as if when you think about what you're throwing or what you're kind of putting out in the space, you get really hesitant. You just need to go and play on instincts. And I think Lewis and Clark has done a better job of moving the disc when they're playing on instinct and just letting it go. See the disc with Noble. Noble has an open swing pass.
For the pranksters.
Noble will send one deep towards the end zone. Drops a dime ball there to Sophia Canutis-Noddle.
Pranksters turnover.
Another break there for Wesleyan.
Picks up for the Sneeches.
That was a dirty throw. Surveying the field, pointing, calling the shot, saying, "This is where I need you." Really, kind of a same third away pass, but it works because it has, it had float and it had shape. And it kind of goes back to this thought about pressure from the mark. The mark there was standing there. The mark wasn't active. The mark could have done more to contest that. And when we think about adjustments that Lewis and Clark can be making, I think that there is space to do more work on the mark. Like, what can you do to stop those arounds? What can you do to stop some of those hucks that Wesleyan is getting off for for their advantage from the field position? And that sometimes it feels like, it takes so much energy to defend someone downfield, but really if we put that energy in on the mark, like instead of quote unquote resting on the mark and taking that as an opportunity to breathe, like that's actually the place that we should be working hardest because we are expected to defend and challenge so much of the field on the mark.
Misreading, now we're creating a short field. Mila Brown picks up now for Wesleyan. This one deep back over the head of Harrison.
Wesleyan clearly going deeper into their sub sheet. We have some players out here that we haven't seen as much of this game. Again, I think it's a great opportunity to get them reps.
Deep shot put up into space and corral. What a grab by Mackenzie Bunnell in traffic.
The shape of Nat Sweet's throws, I really love. Like the float that they get on their forehand hook. Like is what made that possible for Bunnell to be able to grab that. So much loft and distance on that forehand. You don't really get to see the shape of it from that angle, but it's the shape of the throw that makes that catch possible for Bunnell. For Bunnell.
Great job by Bunnell, the concentration. They're able to secure that catch and put Wesleyan up 13-2. Games to 15. 2 points away here for Wesleyan. We're moving on to the final. You see Coach Keith Rayner looking cool and collected in the bucket hat.
Coach Keith Rayner and I have known each other since way back in the day when we were in college, and he was going to American in Washington, D.C., and I was at the University of Maryland. And when Keith Rayner was at American, his nickname was Donnie. And so I always know him as Donnie Clark. And that nickname has faded away now that he is so far removed from it. But in my heart, Keith will always be Donnie.
An immediate look into the end zone again, towing the line. There is Susanna Cornell. Another break for Wesleyan as they go up 14-2.
Cornell having some really good line awareness there, clearly aware of where that front end zone is, and also knowing that her job is to go deep, right? Oh, Mila Brown has a disc. Okay, checking her feet, checking where she's gonna come down, getting it in the end zone, just inside the end zone. Great work. Clearly a connection between Cornell and Brown that has happened all throughout this season. Like my job is to throw it, my job is to run deep. Check, goal, everyone wins.
So Lewis and Clark, a chance to get something good on the board, get some momentum. End this one on a good note. Wesleyan, this is game point for them, looking to get another break, perhaps to secure their spot in the final.
I appreciate that camaraderie that Lewis and Clark is showing, right? Everyone holding hands, like we are in it together no matter what happens, like we are here together and we're going to savor this moment. And I think that's really what the People's Division is about.
Miscommunication, Wesleyan to pick up. Noble now racing up the line, able to dig that one up, keep possession alive. Now stepping through with the backhand, and that is the game, folks. Ending it on a break. Punching it in is Sarah Larson, and Wesleyan moving on to the final.
That was Larson's first goal of the tournament. And like, what a time to have your first goal of the tournament. And the game-winning goal in semis. That's incredible. The look of surprise on her face and like excitement is just incredible. And like, it's those moments that make this so joyful. That like make Ultimate so much fun. But they're like, oh, it happened! We're doing it! Like, we're a collective! Like, they're so magical.
That's a moment she is going to remember for a while as Wesleyan takes this one 15-2 over Lewis and Clark. On behalf of Charlie Mercer, Monica Kaliande, make sure you stay tuned for more D3 College Championship coverage. Wesleyan moving on to the final.
'2025 is the 20th year of Breakmark. Yes, they've been making great gear longer than your rookies have been on Earth. Become a part of the legacy with one of their team bundles. Get free reversibles and 5-panel hats, a team store, no minimums on reorders, and more. Breakmark's got that veteran know-how when it comes to making your team look good. Check them out at breakmark.com.